CBS4 News investigates, and we continue to look into the tragedy at the Hollywood Hills nursing home. Tonight, the attorney hired by the nursing home is sitting down for an exclusive interview with CBS4's Jim DeFede.
For 2 months, the nursing home refused to talk about what happened or the decisions that were made. So we started with a simple question. Why 2 months of silence?
Why are we talking now? Because we've had enough.
Jim Cobb is uniquely qualified to represent the nursing home and its owner, Dr. Jack Michelle. In 2005, Cobb represented Sal and Mabel Mangano, owners of St. Rita's Nursing Home, where 35 residents drowned after Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans.
I've seen this movie before. I was in this movie.
The Manganos were charged with 35 counts of homicide for failing to evacuate their residents to safety before the storm. They were ultimately found not guilty.
Some of the language that some of the politicians are using here in Florida is almost identical to the language that was used in Louisiana.
How so?
Well, the notion that people are saying that this is an outrage and someone needs to be held accountable and this is terrible and the owners of this nursing home did this to these poor people.
Meanwhile, the families of the dead are filing lawsuits.
We trusted these people that are supposed to be professionally trained to save people's life.
They're angry. They're angry at the nursing home. They're angry at Dr. Michelle.
Their anger is justified, but the anger is misplaced if it's anger directed at us.
The Hollywood Police Department is investigating the deaths at the nursing home.
We know that we depend on those people in those facilities to care for our most vulnerable elderly population, and it's really sad when something like this goes on.
The majority of patients who expired were on hospice. What happens in these situations, Jim, and we saw it in Louisiana, is the sickest folks go first. They're the weakest.
You say they did everything they could. The question that is asked to me over and over again on this story is, why not evacuate? Why not get them out of there? Once it was clear there was no power, get them out of that nursing home.
Great question. The data is quite clear.
The data Cobb is referring to are a series of studies performed by researchers, including this woman, University of South Florida professor Catherine Heyer, who examined what happened to 36,000 nursing home residents during Hurricanes Katrina, Rita, Gustav, and Ike.
Natural disasters clearly result in excess deaths and hospitalizations among frail populations.
Heyer testified last month during a congressional hearing in Miami.
And they believed more casualties occurred if they evacuated rather than sheltered and remained in their own building.
A resident of a nursing home is 300% more likely to die if evacuated as opposed to sheltering in place.
Cobb also offered a preview of a possible defense strategy for some of the deaths that occurred after Memorial Regional Hospital evacuated the nursing home.
I was in Louisiana watching this tragedy unfold, and I saw these residents who had been taken out of the Hollywood home and evacuated across the street to Memorial, laying in gurneys and beds in the sun, in the Florida sun. Now, I don't know who did that, but I submit to you that's not a very wise thing to do with patients that are allegedly heated, to stick them in the sun and transition them and triage them into another place. That's why evacuations are disfavored, because when you move them, you lose them.
Now, Memorial Hospital maintains that their actions that day saved lives. They stick to that point.
And that seems to be the argument that stuck out in my mind, was that people are more like it's more dangerous to evacuate than it is to just shelter into place.
Look, I think we're going to see a lot of different arguments made over the course of this. Whether or not there'll be criminal charges filed, there certainly is going to be civil litigation brought. A lot of this is going to play out in the court system one way or another. So we're going to see a lot of these arguments being made. The main thing that we wanted to do with this last series this week was offer a different perspective, at least provide some insight into what was going on inside that nursing home.
Only a couple seconds here. Are legislators talking about maybe changing who gets priority so that maybe nursing homes get added to that list in the event of another natural disaster?
There are legislators who are making that a priority this year to raise the priority level for nursing homes. However, we've seen reforms in the past, and no matter what happens, the lobby against it often succeeds, and reform is very hard to come by in Tallahassee.
All right, Jim DeFede, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. And if you missed any of our three-part series, it's available on CBSMiami.com. It'll also be replayed this Sunday at 8:30 on Facing South Florida. Joining Jim to talk about the nursing home story and what they're saying will be an attorney representing some of the families of those who died.